So I don't really know how to start these videos. I was looking up on YouTube how to, and it just said pretend like you're talking to someone cute. So when I do that, I normally just message, hey, or sup, and then they don't respond. So because you can't respond, hey, sup. Welcome back, I'm Dan from Crochet. Today we're going to learn how to single crochet. This video is based off the fact that you already know how to hold your hook, hold your yarn, and chain with an even tension. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So to start with single crocheting, we're going to have to start with the things that we learned in the last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with that slip knot. We're going to place that slip knot on our hook, and we are going to chain. Okay, so I'm going to chain 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get some slack on the yarn. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I have my chain of 15 right here. This looks pretty even. Remember, you can count the V's to see how many you have. Okay. I'm going to assume that from the last video you practiced and you got this pretty even, so you're pretty good on where to go from chaining. I have 15 chains here, but I want 15 single crochet. So what I actually have to do is chain one more. So I'm going to chain up to 16. Okay. So to get 15 single crochet, I start off with a chain of 16, the amount I want plus 1. What you're going to do now is you're going to crochet into the starting chain. This is my least favorite part of every project, next to sewing this little guy in. So we're going to take it slow, we're going to do it together, but be aware it can be frustrating. There's so many ways to insert this into the chain. To start, you're going to skip this first one, and you are now going to put it into the second one. Okay, so you see that V, we're going to skip that, we're going to go into this V. There are people who put it underneath both loops, so you have 2 loops on top. There are some people who put it just into the top loop, so you only have 1 on top. There are people who put it into the back. I would wait on putting it into the back. It gives a nice finished edge, but if you're sewing pieces together, you may not see that. For now, what I would suggest is just to put it underneath both loops. So I'm going to, I see these 2 lines here, I'm going to put it in this hole right here. Okay, so I put it under. I know I'm in the right spot because there's 2 loops on top of my hook. I'm going to, like when we were chaining, yarn over. It's going from my hook side to my yarn side, and I'm going to pull through. Okay, so I'm going to take that out. We're going to do it again. So I'm skipping this first chain, I'm going to the second one. This one got a little tighter because we're playing with it, but I'm going to go into the second chain. So I'm going through. Okay, going through. I have 2 loops on top, so I know I'm in that bottom one. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through. So now you have 2 loops on your hook. This is where you want to be. Once you have the 2 loops on the hook, you are going to yarn over again. Okay, so again, I went around the back. It's crossing over from my hook side to my yarn side, where my ball of yarn is. And I'm going to pull through both of those loops. Just like with chaining, you should not have to fight this. If you're like, oh, that's really tight, I don't like it, you can take your hook out and you can pull and pull. And then you can put your hoop back in. So we're going to go through, we're going to yarn over, pull through. We have 2 loops here, and we're going to pull through 2. Okay? Now again, this does get faster, but this is my least favorite part of any crochet project. So it still takes me forever. Okay? Crocheting and knitting, they're not about speed. They're about relaxation, having fun, being creative. You don't have to worry about being lightning fast at it. Okay? Speaking of being lightning fast, though, there are some shortcuts. So instead of me inserting my hook, I have 2 loops on top, and me bringing my hand around and pulling through, and then bringing my hand around and pulling through, you can maneuver the hook. So I go through 2, I'm just going to grab it and pull, and then you keep going, okay? So I'm going to finish out this row, you do the same, and when you get to the last stitch, I'm going to show you what we do. Okay, again, this would be a good time if you're so unsure of what to do right now, pause, rewind, rewatch, okay? Another tip, because it's happening to me right now, so I want to bring it up, is that sometimes my yarn is, because I have it on the floor right now, it's going to get a little tight, so I feel like I'm pulling my hands or I'm like having to force the yarn a little. Don't be afraid to grab like a loop or two and put it on your lap if it's on the floor, keep it next to your workspace to help things flow and stay loose, okay? So we're going to go through and keep going. Awesome. Now I'm at my last 2 stitches, okay? So we're going to do the same thing to finish it off. Go through 2, boom, boom. Okay, let's do the last one slow. Again, 2 loops on top, catch the yarn, pull it through, wrap it around, and pull it through. Awesome. So this is what it's going to look like, and I'll bring it a little closer. This is what it's going to look like when you have your first one. Mine may look a little different because of the color change yarn, but this is your first row. This is row 1. Your chaining doesn't count as a row, it counts as a chain. So this is row 1. So now how do we keep going? What we are going to do is take some information from that last video and we're going to chain. Okay, same thing. When we did the chain, we yarned over and we pulled through. So you just chain 1. Now you're going to physically turn your project. Okay, with knitting, you're going to turn the needle around and do all that. With crocheting, we just turn. Okay, so I literally just flip my project over. Now, with that happening, flipping my project over, I now see the back of my project. This yarn I'm using because it's chunkier, so it's easier to see. You have a hole right here. That's your first stitch. You have a hole in here. It's your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, and so on. So what we are going to do is we are going to go into that hole, just like you did with the chain. We have 2 loops on top. Okay, a little hard to see, but we have 2 loops there. So you went through your chain, or your stitch. You're going to grab your yarn and pull it through. Now you have 2 loops again, just like the last row. You're going to wrap around and pull through. And these are single crochet. Okay? So you go through and you just keep going. Okay? Sometimes you might notice like this, where it's not really like you don't really know where to put the hook, you can't really see the hole. You can like pull a little, don't like but like pull a little bit. Okay? And then you can see that hole, put it through. Again, we're not forcing anything, we're not tugging, we're not pulling, we're not breaking. We're just putting it through. Okay, you have those 2 loops on top, and you pull back through, okay? And you wrap around. So we're gonna do 2 more slow, and then I'm gonna finish out the row. Okay, so it's through 2, catch my yarn, wrap it around, remember hook to yarn side, and I pull through 2. Insert, yarn, wrap, pull through, okay? So that is what you're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna finish out the row. I crochet fast normally, but once I'm recording myself or people are watching, I slow down so much. Okay. So we're going to finish this row out just like that. Keep it going. Here's a good stitch. I'm going to pause for a sec. Here's a good stitch to show this because I have one top loop is blue and one top loop is white. When I'm going through, you're going under both of those, okay? Then you're going and you're wrapping. You're going and you're wrapping. You're going and you're wrapping. Awesome. Now, how do you know when you got to the end of the row? Because you don't want to lose a stitch. So you're going to see this. You see this little nub? This was our stitch. That was our 16th chain here. And then this is where our first stitch went in. So you are going to crochet into this. So you are going to go through just like you normally would. Okay, I'll get the yarn out of the way so it's easier to see. Okay, you're going to go through just like you normally would. Okay, you're going to wrap around. You're going to pull through. You have 2 loops. You're going to wrap around and you're going to pull through. Okay. 2 things I want to mention before we end this video on single crocheting. The first thing is that this is kind of awkward to crochet like because I'm filming. Normally when I'm crocheting, I'm like up here and like in my face and like doing all that. So sit back, you can relax. You don't have to like crochet on a desk like you're showing someone. So I just wanted to point that out. The second thing is that if you're using acrylic yarn, it's really easy to pull stuff out, and the acrylic yarn is going to be harder to felt. So that's like your Red Heart Super Saver or yarns like that. So you want to make sure that you're happy with your project. It's not going to look good in the beginning. I would fight the urge to pull out, just continue, because you'll see your progression, you'll see your stitches getting better as you go on. It's kind of nice, like motivation to see it happening, but it's good practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn one more time, we'll finish the next row, and then I'm going to tell you what you can do to keep practicing the single crochet stitch. So we're going to just chain, wrap around, and pull through. And we're just going through those open spaces. Okay. Going through those open spaces. My yarn's getting tight. I'm going to pull up some. Going through. Okay, I got to the end again. So I'm just going to go in, grab my yarn, wrap around, and pull through. So how can you keep practicing this? Well, what I would suggest doing is, let's see, I crocheted about, I started 0, like 5.5 inches, it looks like. I can continue going and make a 5.5 inch square, and now I have a coaster. So if you want to do that, you can. You could also make a scarf if you really wanted to. Pull it out a little. You can chain like 200 and then keep doing this if you want to make the scarf like the long way, or you can chain like 20 and you could crochet the scarf like vertically instead of horizontally. So it really depends on what you want to do, which way you want to see the stitches flowing. This single crochet tends to be tighter because they're small stitches, so this may not flow as well as you want for a scarf. So it may not be the best. I would suggest doing a washcloth or a coaster because those are really easy beginner projects and they're squares. Okay. Now let's say I got to the end, I'm done, don't want this anymore. My perfect coaster for my very horizontal drink. What you're going to do to end is you are just going to wrap around, pull through like you're chaining. You're going to get your scissors, you're going to cut like that. So now my yarn is free. Okay, so I essentially just chained and I'm just pulling through. And you tighten it. Awesome. And then you can take a smaller crochet hook or a needle and you can sew this into the top. Okay, if you know one side is going to be the front, maybe you just sew it into like the back of the stitch. But that's how you single crochet. So again, you can keep going with this, make a full square, call it a coaster, it's lovely. And this is where we're going to start off. The next video in the series is going to be about double crocheting, which is a taller stitch. And you basically are just crocheting twice into the same place, kind of. So yeah, leave a comment down below, like, subscribe. Again, I don't know if I have that bell notification, but if I do, please click it. It's really cool. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I am much more social on Instagram than I am on Twitter. Leave a comment down below with what you want to see coming up. If you have any questions, am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Is this video way too long? Let me know. Okay? Yeah, any feedback is great feedback at this point. So thank you. And much like me trying to end a voicemail, I'm not really sure how to do this. So I'm just going to wave awkwardly. Bye. Happy crocheting.